All right, let's talk about it. You've made it through med school, residency, all the fellowships. You've finally landed that job offer. But, there's one last hurdle, and honestly, it's a pretty big one. We're talking about the employment contract, and it's so much more than a formality. It's the legal document that's going to define your income, your freedom, and really your entire future. So, what do you think is the single biggest risk to your career? I bet it's not what you're thinking. It's not some impossible diagnosis or a crazy complex procedure. No, for so many doctors, the biggest risk is actually hiding in the fine print of the very agreement that's supposed to kickstart this amazing next chapter. I mean, think about it. You have put in so much work. You've dedicated your life to this, to caring for people, and now you're at this huge milestone. But let's be real, med school didn't exactly have a class on contract law, right? And that's exactly where the danger is. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of the problem. There's this really common trap that so many physicians fall into, and it all starts with one simple and very dangerous thought about their contract. You've heard this, right? Oh, don't worry, it's just a standard contract. Maybe you've even thought it yourself. And it sounds so reassuring, doesn't it? Standard makes you think it's fair, it's been tested, it's safe. But that is a massive misconception. Let's just redefine that word for a second. In this world, standard just means it's the employer's favorite template. It's the one that their lawyers have polished to protect them, not you. So what's standard for them can be a huge risk for you. And you can see the difference so clearly here. On the left, that's the standard contract, full of things like one-sided termination clauses and these crazy restrictive non-competes. But on the right, that's the goal, a balanced agreement with protections for both sides. It's something that feels like a real partnership. So how do you even get from their one-sided document to a genuine partnership? Well, it all starts with knowing what to look for. So let's break down 4 of the most critical red flags that can totally derail your career if you're not careful. First step, the non-compete. Imagine this. You leave your job, and the contract says you can't practice within a 50-mile radius for the next 2 years. I mean, that could force you to move your entire family just to keep working. A fair non-compete should be much smaller. Think under 15 miles for 1 year, maybe less. Anything bigger than that is a major red flag. Okay, this one is super subtle, but it is so powerful. It's the termination without cause clause. This basically means your employer can let you go for pretty much any reason at all or for no reason with just a little bit of notice. That creates a ton of instability for you and your family. It's incredibly vulnerable. Productivity bonuses, they sound fantastic, right? But if that formula is vague, or if the employer can just change it whenever they want, you might never actually see a dime of that extra money. The bottom line is your entire compensation plan has to be crystal clear, totally objective, and it can't be changed without your written permission. Period. And this one is a biggie, malpractice insurance. When you're working, it's on. But what happens when you leave? A claim could still pop up from care you gave years ago. That's what tail coverage is for. It's insurance for your past work, and it can cost tens of thousands of dollars. A lot of contracts quietly stick you with that entire bill. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of scary stuff. It sounds pretty intimidating, I know. But here's the solution. You went into medicine to be a doctor, not to become a contract lawyer. And the good news is, you don't have to be. So, what does a legal advocate actually do for you? Well, think of them as your personal translator and your strategist. They start by reviewing every single word. Then, they explain what it actually means in plain English. From there, they help you build a strategy to negotiate better terms, and they make sure the final contract is totally compliant with the law. And that last part, compliance, that's absolutely non-negotiable. Healthcare is governed by some incredibly strict laws, like Stark Law and the anti-kickback statutes. A contract that breaks those rules, even by accident, could put your medical license at risk. This is not something you can just figure out with a quick Google search. You need a real expert. So, what's the end result of all this? It's about making a huge shift from feeling totally anxious and overwhelmed to feeling empowered and ready to sign with confidence. Before you get help, you're just staring at this wall of dense, confusing legal text. It's stressful. You're worried about what you're missing, that one hidden clause that could come back to bite you 5 years down the road. But after a proper review, all that confusion just melts away into clarity. You know exactly what you're signing. You get your compensation, your duties, your rights, your obligations, everything. There are no more surprises waiting for you. At the end of the day, this is the whole point. A well-reviewed, fairly negotiated contract isn't just an obstacle to get past, it's the actual foundation for a successful, stable, and rewarding career. It protects the very future that you have worked so incredibly hard to build. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. When that next offer is on the table, just remember that the document you're about to sign is so much more than paper. It's either going to be a blueprint for your success, or it could be a trap. And the choice of which one it becomes, that is completely up to you.